Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. You are tuning in for the season finale of Scorpion. Toby or not Toby. We're going to talk about it all. Toby, Wage, everything. What's going to happen season 3? Don't go anywhere.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I really like this song.
Great song.
Such a good song.
Yeah.
Such a good way to end.
Yeah, perfect for the moment.
For the moment, I really was like struggling, like, what song are we gonna use? And then this is like literally perfect.
Done.
It's like Scorpion gave it to us.
Yeah.
And like, everybody, welcome! We are here at AFTERBUZZ Studios to tune into the season finale of Scorpion, Toby or Not Toby. I can't believe it's over.
I know.
It's not supposed to return till September. What are we gonna do till September?
Seriously.
What are you gonna do, guys?
Got
I don't
a big
know.
break this time.
Tweet me. That's what you can do till September. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, Monse Bolanos. You can also tweet Susannah.
See. Tweet me. At Susannah_Kim. It's SUSANNAH_KIM.
Nice.
Yeah.
Side note, I have a coworker at the Dodgers named Susannah. She's from the UK, from Sweden. Told her, maybe I have Susannah, and my mom calls her Susannah. She fell in love with that. She's like, I wish that was my name.
Oh,
like
she can't have it.
I know.
But
I was like,
thanks. Tell her thanks.
I will. I'll let her know. Told her, I was like, my mom calls her Susannah. I call her all these names, and I do it to her. Like, I'll be like, Susannah, and I told her, I was like, if you think I say your name weird, it's because I've had experience with
Say it all the time.
Say
yeah.
all the
Just
time.
all versions. Yeah.
So with that, here we are, AFTERBUZZ TV. Toby or not Toby? What did you think of the
Toby. I don't know. I liked a lot of it. I didn't like some things about it. I was like, as a finale, I kind of wanted just a little bit more
of the ending, right? Like more of what was going on in the end.
Yes. Yeah, and more also just like more drama. I feel like they kind of had like some cheat outs, like in some of the stuff, like the shootout in the middle. I know we're gonna get to it, but just certain thing. I don't know. I was like, that's I don't know. I just wish it was a little more dramatic. But I like that it was all centered around the team. I loved that.
Yeah, I agree with you. There were things that I really liked about it, and then there were things that why is this in this episode?
Right.
And you're right. I wish that it would have had more of like finale feel to it with the relationship, like the whole Wage thing. We got it at the very end, but it was almost like it was too late. I felt like it was so unsatisfying.
Yeah. That's totally what I said would happen.
Yeah,
I knew like they were gonna acknowledge it, but they weren't gonna actually let us have that.
They weren't.
No,
but it
no
was
way.
just so frustrating the way it let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about Wage. Okay, so if you have not seen the episode, bye, because we're about to literally go to the end of the episode. Peace. In the end of the episode, we head back to the garage. We've already saved Toby, all that stuff. And things are a little crazy because Toby has proposed to Happy. And we'll go more into detail with this. I'm just, setting up the moment of what we're going to talk about. He's been rejected, and Toby is sitting with Walter, drinking tequila. You need better tequila, boo-boo. But aside from that, he's drinking tequila, and Walter is being Walter, like thinking of this like logically, and that's not how you can think of love. Love is not logic, and he's being a genius, and says to him like, I'm gonna talk to Happy for you, and it's like, oh really, like you would do that? But he's not gonna talk to Happy in like a, hey, you need to talk to your future fiance, lover, whatever. It's more like, he says, once you guys realize that this was a mistake, that romantic experiment,
right?
Things that if I was Toby, I would have slapped.
Be so offended.
I was offended, and I wasn't there. Like, I was offended watching it. I was annoyed, so annoyed watching this.
And it's surprising that he's still in so much denial. You know what I mean? Like, he's gone through so much in this season. We've seen him go on a date, and like we thought he had all these revelations about love, but then they really, I guess, wanted to show a big drastic change for him in this episode, but like really he just like reverted back to old Walter.
Yeah, and like Toby calls him a gigantic ass. He's like, you're a gigantic ass, like you're trying to justify all these things to justify the way you are, but in reality, like that's not how everybody works. He tells him that love matters, and he's like, something like, my love is just left and all I want to do is get her back. You pushed your love out the door into the arms of a hunky seal, like you idiot. And it's so
saying all the things that we would want to say to Walter.
That we want to say.
That was pretty refreshing. That one part. I was like, yes, thank you. Preach, Toby.
Preach. When he's like, comprende 197. Like, so, Toby was great.
Yeah.
Toby was so good. But
Doctored
I
him up.
was so annoyed with Walter.
Yeah.
And then he's like, where's my company car? Where's the car? Where's my car keys? Oh, the company car?
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, that was actually funny, too, that whole interaction.
They kept that the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole, like, even early in the episode, Walter's like, okay, so there's my car when you're looking at the video surveillance.
Yeah. Like,
my car again.
That was actually funny. And he's like, I'm going to go get her. I love her. No, duh.
Right.
No, you know.
Is that the first time we've heard him say that? Yeah, right?
I think so. Yeah, the word love. Yeah. Even just, I don't know if we've ever heard him say the word love, period.
Right.
You know, I'm sure he loved Megan, but I don't know if we ever heard him say it.
Right.
I'm sure maybe, I don't remember. But it's the first time he said it in regards to Paige, for sure. For sure. And he, like, runs off and he's like, I'm a moron. And Toby's like, nope, you're a genius type of thing. But all of that was frustrating. Even the part, like, before that when he's talking to Paige and... so like even Tim leaves. Tim's like, hey, if we're really gonna go, gets out of the scene, and we just have both of them.
Yes, and Paige is just setting it up for him.
Paige is like, I'm right here.
She's setting it up. She's like, I'm gonna give us a little bit of privacy. Right? She gave us privacy. She like set up all the questions for him. She's, are you sure you want me to go? Because I'll stay. If you want me to stay, if you just breathe a little loud, I'll stay. Just give me a little... and I'll stay. But nothing. Walter wasn't picking up what she was laying down at all.
You don't think he was picking it up? There's no way he wasn't picking it up. He just chose to not go with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess he was a little bit, but still.
I'm not gonna give him the fact that I'm not gonna give him as much credit that he didn't know what she was doing.
Right.
No. That was.
He just fought what he was feeling. Yeah.
There's no way. There's
Annoying.
no freaking way. Like, that annoyed me so much. I want to curse right now as we're talking about this. That's how much that annoyed me. And it's just, like, he's, like, blaming himself for the relationships, like, falling, and then Paige is so nice. No, what are you talking about? And then he goes on that, like, monologue when he's pretending it's about Toby's feelings for Happy. That was so well done by Elias Gable, the actor, Walter. That was so well done because it was like frantic and like frustrated and like you could tell like...
And definitely talking about himself.
Definitely.
While masking it as Toby. What I loved was right after that moment when she was like, so you're really just talking about Toby? Yeah. And he says, yeah. And then her roller coaster of facial expressions.
In 3 seconds, right? In 3 seconds.
So good. Yes. She did a brilliant job. Yeah. Catherine McPhee, I love you. That was so good. She's so good. I like the subtle little, there's so many things going on in her face.
Not gonna lie, when I first started watching Scorpion, I'm talking season 1, and I was like, Catherine McPhee, really?
I know.
Singer?
Right, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we always discredit her as a singer because we're like, oh, she's from American Idol. But no.
Girl can do it. And like, she was in House Bunny. Did you ever see that?
Did not know she was in that.
Yeah.
Was that before American Idol?
No.
It was after.
But like that movie is super old. She was in House Bunny, and excuse me.
Can't forget Smash.
Yes.
And of course.
Right, Smash. Right. Thank you, Marissa. That's very true.
I love Smash.
And in Smash though, she played somebody singing.
Right.
So it was like so much easy to accept for me.
It was kind of like, oh, she's a singer.
Oh, she's a singer. You know, it was Megan Hilty, who we saw in Wicked. Susannah and I saw Megan Hilty as the best Galinda. Galinda. Anyway, that was easy to accept because it's like she's a singer, Smash, get it. But for this one, I literally was like, really?
We've only heard her sing like once or twice on the show.
Which is amazing. And like, here I am. I'm like, brava.
So good.
Brava to you,
so
Paige.
Good.
So good.
Yeah.
When we talked about her subtle reactions, they're so perfect.
Yeah.
Her facial expressions, like everything she does,
but
I love you.
This one was the winner, for sure.
Can we be friends?
I went back and I watched it over because it was so good.
Catherine McPhee, if you're watching this, please come on the show.
Right?
If you're hearing it, please come on the
us.
show. I will do whatever you want.
I mean, you have 5 months to think about it, so
just please come on the show.
I mean? Just sleep on it for 5 months. And we'll be here.
We promise we'll be as normal as we can be, but we love you. Okay, so and I wrote down like Walter's an idiot because he lets Paige walk out.
Yeah, that was rough.
So all
rough
of that,
goings.
All of
and I
that.
kept checking like how much time do we have left in the episode? I was like, is there enough time for him to change this because this is terrible. Yeah, really upsetting.
really, really upsetting. But what's gonna happen season 3? Actually, I read an interview and. I know he's directed some of them and has written most of them. Nick Santora and Nick Wooten did an interview, and they said that we're gonna get more wage. Like it's gonna happen, but slowly. It's not gonna be super fast. And then they also say that we're gonna get all the answers about Happy, because we have a big cliffhanger with Happy, you know, and that we will get all the answers. And season 3 will premiere sometime September. That's really all we know. So we're gonna get more wage, but it's gonna go at a slow pace. Like it's not just gonna go, you know.
It's gonna be Ross and Rachel.
10 seasons. Kill me.
Season 10.
Kill me if that's true.
And then they'll get together. And Ralph will be like old.
Ralph will be old. So it's gonna happen. It's just gonna go slow, and I feel like they're gonna focus a lot more season 3 on maybe Happy and like this whole thing that we're gonna find out.
Yeah. Married lady
already. Wow.
Mrs.
When Mark Collins, the bad guy in the episode, has Toby and says like she can't. Did you think? Yeah. I was like no.
Yeah.
But I was like, is she married? I thought it was gonna be something else.
Yeah.
Is that what? I totally thought he knows something instantly. I was like, he knows something.
I kind of thought married was like the easiest answer. That was kind of like the most obvious one. But I was like, oh, for sure, she was like married or something legal. You know, when he said she can't, I was like, ah.
Right. But let's get into.
Is it him? That's my question.
You think it's him?
I thought because right before he said that, he said, I've known her longer. So when he was like, there's history there. Yeah. So I don't know. That's what I was thinking.
If it's him,
right? And then he got put away, went to jail or whatever he's been. I don't know where he's been. Right? Jail?
Yeah, prison. Not prison. I mean, he was in a hospital.
Was that part of jail? I'm not sure.
Possibly, it's all connected.
But so she was like, oh well, I don't need him anymore. You know?
Yeah.
And then took her ring off, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's not him.
Yeah, I hope it's not.
It'll upset me. It'll make me feel like Walter and Mark weren't as close as what they're making it out to be.
Really? I think that would make it seem like they're even closer. Like he was almost
Walter
family.
Knows?
I don't know if
That's
Walter
what I
knows. I see what you're saying. Like Walter would have known.
Like Walter would have known, and I don't think he knows.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe this guy knew. Happy before Walter knew Happy, you know? So maybe this was all before any of the Scorpion, you know what I mean?
All right.
Maybe, I don't know.
It'll bother me, that's all I'm saying, if it's Mark.
Maybe he's the one that introduced Happy to Walter, you know?
Maybe. Okay. But let's hope she's married to somebody else. But let's kind of go into the main part of this episode, named Toby, or Not Toby, for a reason. And it picks up immediately where the last episode left off.
Yes.
Which I love. I love that happened. That we're not going to beat around the bush. Here's Toby, you know, tied to a chair.
I almost wish they would have ended the last episode saying Toby continued. Right?
Why didn't
they? I know. Missed opportunities. Scorpion writers.
You guys gotta hire her. If you hire her, I come along.
Done. Yeah, there you go.
Just so you know.
Right.
Just so she'll just be there. I'll just be there though. I'm not gonna really write anything. I'm just gonna
She'll bring food.
I will.
She'll be a delight.
I'll bring better tequila than what Toby was drinking at the end of this episode. Okay, so he wakes up being tied. He's tied to a chair, and you don't really know where he's at. Just looks like a big empty place.
Yeah, and some sort of warehouse.
Yeah, and like poor guy, like the entire episode, Mark is like toying with him in so many different ways.
Yeah,
like trying to give him water, and is like, oh, you should keep up your strength today. Like so many little things where I was like, it must be so annoying to be Toby right now.
So
Toby must be so annoyed. I feel like Toby wasn't scared or worried until later. Like I feel like he was annoyed. He was just like, I'm so over this guy.
I got stuff to do today.
You are killing me. And poor guy. But I feel like that was the whole time. Like he was just picking at him little by little. And then everybody's at the garage. Nobody knows what's wrong with Toby yet. Nobody has figured it out. But you know, there's a Tahoe trip being planned to go see the Jazz Film Festival.
Barf.
How about when Sylvester was like, I dislike touching the handles on shopping carts.
Yeah.
I hate
jazz.
Freeform jazz. I hate that. And
He's like, I wish all the notes they were playing were ones they weren't playing or something like that.
I don't know if I've ever disliked jazz. Do you you're weird with music.
Yeah.
Do you like jazz?
Yeah, of course.
You do like jazz?
Yeah. But I understand why people like them, you know, like them, like those people, like
the smart people,
them people. Yeah. No, but I understand, like, you know, people that want something more like, you know, formed, you know, more like following a pattern or whatever.
You don't like that song by Pink that I like, that you were like, this doesn't rhyme.
Okay, but that's more
do you know
annoying.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I still hate that song. I can't think of it either, but it's the worst.
Just give me a reason. Just a little bit's enough. She hates that song.
I hate that song. And if anyone agrees with me, I mean, everyone loves it. Across the world, people love this song. Yeah. I hate it.
I know.
The way it's written, it's not done. No, it's not well done.
It's not well done.
Sorry, Pink.
Sorry, Pink.
Anywho,
we like jazz. Cool.
Yeah.
So they don't know anything yet. And then Happy like comes strolling in and is like whatever she calls. I don't even know what she calls them. Saying that ignoring her calls, didn't show up to breakfast. But they don't think anything's wrong immediately. They think he may be off on a gambling binge.
Right.
I was like, that sucks.
And Walter's like, no, I know Toby. You're right. He could probably be on a gambling bench. That sounds about right.
Yeah. You're right. And Sylvester, they know. They're like, you know something. Poor Sylvester too. Like the first part of this episode, when he's trying to like keep secret the whole time.
Right. That's Sophie's choice. You know what I mean? Do you tell? Do you not?
What would you have done?
Keep that secret? I don't know. I mean, if I legitimately thought that Toby was in trouble,
right?
You know what I mean?
Which is what he says. He says that he's like, if I knew something as to where
germane to where he was, something like that.
Yeah, that word. Whatever that word
he loves to throw in his big words.
His big words. He even says that he's like, if I knew information that would really help Toby in the situation, I would say it. I felt bad for him. I was like, throughout like the whole first 15 minutes of the episode, I was like, poor
that's
guy.
a tough spot to put him in.
Yeah, and while they're in the garage, so we got the Tahoe thing going on. Yeah. We got Tim being called an albondiga. Did he call him an albondiga?
Or he just didn't know how to respond.
To them going to Tahoe?
That was the first word he thought of.
Albondiga is a
and when he said it, I went back and I was like, "What did he say?" And then I was like, "I hope they're gonna like clarify that." And then they did.
And then they did. And then there we also have Cabe. So everyone's there, and they're trying to figure stuff out. And then they tell us that he has escaped. Mark Collins has escaped because he's not in prison or jail. He was in a hospital, so he didn't really have security. He had people working in the hospital, and he's a genius. He used some sedative in the coffee. And boom, out.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. I do love how fast the episode moved because we were like 4 minutes in and they are already like onto it. They're already like, oh, we know what's going on.
Right, yeah. He's like, oh, the odds of a coincidence are infinitesimal or something.
Right, like instantly. So they realize that the company car was with Toby. Yeah. So that's how they're able to track kind of where he was. Right. Sylvester gives a hint about Olympic. He's like, he hates traffic, so maybe Olympic because he was headed to downtown.
Check traffic cams going that way.
Check traffic cams, and they get to the car eventually. They find the garage, and they see his hat in the car. They see his phone on the ground.
Right.
And that's when we get like the first, or maybe Happy gets the first hint of something weird because on the phone it says, hey, check this out, how perfect is this, or something on the text, and it's a photo of the ring.
And it was like perfectly cracked so you couldn't see the ring exactly.
But you can still see the text.
Like, that's convenient.
That is very convenient. And Sylvester is kind of like, oh, I don't know, poor guy, still going through it. And then we get the first call. Mark calls throughout the entire episode. Yeah. And the way the episode is shot, it's really quick. It's like an action, like mini action movie. It's cut so fast from what they're doing to what they're doing to what's going on over here. It's so quick. So we get one of the first of what I think is 3 calls that Mark does to the group on a burner phone is what we think. And he has Toby, says he's going to torture him. When he first gets tortured, did you think it was real? Because the way it's done is you hear the screams and then commercial.
Right.
Did you think it was real?
No, because they didn't show Toby.
They didn't show Toby.
And they just showed the guy. Yeah.
That's true. I was like, I couldn't tell because the screams to me sounded real. Yeah. Like they sounded like painful screams. You know, not like I'm scared, like I'm in pain. Yeah. Like So I thought. I was like, I think he's doing something to him.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, but I thought the screams sounded a little like they sounded like that he was in pain, but I feel like wouldn't he be saying like, help me? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I guess you're right.
Like, that's weird, but yeah, I was like, maybe that's just a flaw. I don't know.
And Mark calls and tells them like, yeah, I have Toby, and I want all of the research that you did, Walter, for Megan.
Yeah, because he's working on BBI. Brain to brain interface.
Right. And Happy's like, okay, so just give him the stuff and let's get Toby. And he's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I was like, seriously? But they give good points. In the end, like, they go into a description of what the mind that Mark Collins has could possibly do with this information.
Exactly.
Which would lead to something like mind reading.
The whole greater good thing.
The whole greater good thing. And then at one point, they're like not even selling it to people to put it free on the internet because he's so crazy. So it's like, that's not an option to do that. And so we obviously have to find Toby. And we kind of split up. We get Paige, Tim, and Happy going to the hospital because they want to find out exactly what Mark was doing at the hospital in the last 2 years. They said he was there for 2 years. So we'll talk about what goes on in the hospital. I liked all of that. I enjoyed how it was. I enjoyed, like, the mattress. So Paige and Happy find a mattress, and Happy's like, this was sewed recently.
Yes.
Opens it up.
That I liked.
I liked that. And they realize that it's like the guts, she says the guts of a microwave.
Right.
To create a Wi-Fi signal for himself, because they're not allowed to use Wi-Fi. And then we get Tim, who is at the cafeteria.
And that's what I didn't like.
And you didn't like that. Okay.
It just wasn't, like, it wasn't super believable. Like, when he went over to the table, I mean, it was believable that that's what Mark would have done. I liked that. Like the whole writing,
the whole thing on the table?
the grease on his finger. I didn't like that it was Tim. Maybe I just don't like Tim.
You just don't like Tim.
I just don't like Tim. But I didn't like that it was Tim because, like, how would even, you know, like, it didn't seem like he had a moment of, like, oh, let me think of this. He just went right over to the table and started getting flour, right? He didn't look at the table. He didn't see, like, oh, did he write under it? Anything. He just went straight to the flour. And I was just like, give it a second, you know?
Right.
Or, like, would you be the one to think of that? Maybe I was so happy that thought of that. I don't know. Wasn't feeling it.
Susannah doesn't feel Tim, ever.
Yeah.
I actually liked it. Again, I don't hate Tim as much as Susannah. So I didn't see it that way. I thought it was very, like, the girl was like, he was a neat freak. Like, there was a lot of
hints leading up to it.
Exactly. Like, a lot of little things.
I guess.
I think it is weird that it was Tim. But, you know, I'll give it to him that he's a Navy SEAL. He's been through a lot. Maybe he has this random information that he knows that this stainless steel table and the oil on your finger would leave a mark, and if you put flour on it.
Like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me, logically. But would you think of that right then, you know? That's what I was just, I don't know.
Yeah. I liked it. And he, like you said, he spills flour all over it. And then we have that girl.
I clean that up.
I cleaning that up just in the background.
Right?
Oh, that's so funny.
She's right. She's right.
To. She's right. I wouldn't want to clean it up either. And there's like a plan. He says it's Colin's plan, but I can't read it. I'm glad you knew that. I'm glad you knew that you couldn't read it, you know? So I appreciated that, and he, like, takes a photo, sends it to Scorpion. They start to figure things out. They also get sent to, like, the farm. They go on off because they were looking at the computer.
Yeah, they were looking at his search history, and he kept looking at different farms and realized that he stopped at a particular farm. So Happy's like, well, this has to be the one that he was looking for.
Because he stopped going back. So he found what he needed. So they head to that farm, and then they go through that shootout that you don't like.
Right. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, it seemed like they just wanted to have some sort of, like, violent, you know, confrontation in the episodes. So it was kind of like a cheap little way to, you know, get a little gun violence. Because their bad guy was kind of like this, like, methodical guy. He wasn't really super violent, you know? He wasn't going to, like, attack them like that. So I feel like this was their cheap little way to get in some gunshots. And I was like, really? So unnecessary, right?
Yeah, and there was already so much action in the episode itself that it wasn't really needed. It would have been fine if you just would have gotten to the farm and this guy would have been like, oh, let me help you out. I did have some people trespass. Like, why did this guy shoot at you?
Right. Exactly. Unnecessary. It was unnecessary. I didn't, I wasn't feeling that. And then when Tim tackled Paige, right? What farm? Where?
What farm?
Can I go?
Where? No. You just have
they probably charge $50 to get in.
Yeah.
The parking is like, you know, $20 valet. But, right? I mean, Tim tackles Paige. I was like, that's rough.
The head is, he was protecting her.
Okay.
Hashtag Tim hater.
Okay, I know, right? Again, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, he dives and, like, protects her. But this scene, aside from the shooting, which also I was like, I don't get why they're shooting at each other. Oh no, you don't want to kill each other? Okay, great.
Right? Talk first, figure it out.
We do start to find out that he's trying to build something, because the guy tells him that he has these goats with, like, this necklace that has a defense against, like, the coyotes who may want to come and eat the goats. And the thing on their necklace, which I didn't know this was a thing, I'm glad to hear, sodium, dexafluoride. And they're like, so what does he want with this stuff? Because he didn't take the goats, he took the necklaces,
the stuff inside,
and then took hinges, and he took wires from the hospital. So we know he's building something, but we really don't know.
And he's working just the way Scorpion team does, you know, grabbing things from here and there, finding resources. Right. I like that.
I know, right? Because he's a genius. Literally, he's another one of them.
You know, they're cut from the same cloth.
Right. And then we have the other ones. We got Walter, Sylvester, and Cabe trying to figure out exactly where he is hiding.
Yes.
And then we go to like where you lost me here, Scorpion, in this scene.
Yeah, I wasn't having it. So they figured from the picture that they got from Tim that he was trying to figure out where the best cell phone tower would be, or you know, whatever for his radio that he wanted to use from his mom's basement or something. I was like, wait, so you had time to visit your mom's basement, and you know what I mean? You couldn't have worked out of there, or you know, I don't know. It was just
I know
that was just so casual. Like he probably just got this from, you know, He couldn't have gotten the radio from somewhere else. I thought that would have been fun, better. But anyways,
And so they narrow it down to like 38 towers, and they say that like they needed to be silent to figure out. They had to control some sort of silence on the towers. The 38,
right? The radio frequency that he had handheld would only be like a very low frequency or something.
Something like that. Exactly. And they need Walter volunteers to climb the tower, where they're gonna use Sylvester's keytar to get this signal, to get this sound from this tower. Are you kidding me right now?
Oh yeah.
You work for Edison now?
That's what you're gonna do?
I was so irritated with this entire scene.
Yeah.
It just, one, it looked so fake. Two, you're not gonna put on a harness. You're not gonna put any. You're just gonna go.
No safety. Yeah, you just want to climb up there.
You're just gonna climb the 1,000 feet.
Why is the junction box up there anyway? They can't pull that thing down to ground level, right? The stuff that neends to be high up is high up. Why does that box need to be up there?
And why is Cabe from Homeland just letting this guy climb?
I know, right? He ends up climbing up there anyway. Why didn't you just go in the first place?
Why didn't you just go in the first place? It really freaking annoyed me. That entire scene, I was just like.
And then the keytar drops.
But the reason why the keytar falls is kind of funny.
Okay, yeah, the reason it falls is kind of funny.
Yes, so we just mentioned that Tim tackles Paige. So when they're in the car, and they're all on comms, so they actually are in communication throughout this entire episode, even though they're not together.
Always.
Every episode. That's true. But this one, the way it was shot, it was like the whole time they're communicating back and forth. So it's like, wait, you're not together, but it feels like you're together. They're like driving Paige, Happy, and Tim, and Paige makes like a sound, and Tim's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm sore from you laying on top of me."
Yeah,
that was the line. And that's when the keytar falls. So it was actually kind of funny when that falls. So not only do we have Walter climbing up this 1,000 feet, whatever tower, then he drops the keytar and he's like, "Cabe, just bring it up."
Yeah, right? Just come up here. Ooh, okay.
There's plenty of room.
Not a problem.
Come on down.
I know,
come on down.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think the keytar was just for that joke? Because it's kind of like you obviously could have done this without the keytar.
Right, if you did it without it.
So did you really need to lug that big old thing up there when you're climbing up however many feet?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's
a big thing. Does the keytar have a strap? You know what I mean?
Does the keytar have a strap?
Right?
That's true. That's true. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was just for the joke.
I don't know.
So then they're both up there. And then we get another call. And he answers the phone. Hanging by like Tarzan. I was so over that entire scene. He answers the phone. And we go back to seeing a little bit more of poor Toby and Mark Collins situation. Collins. They call him Colin. But
Collins, yeah.
Collins. And he tells him, like, I felt so bad for Toby. He's like, just so we're sure, you will be killed today, just not by me.
Yeah.
Because we find out the scream was fake, that the scream came from The Price is Right when he was cheering.
Which I kind of remember thinking when I watched that, I was like, man, Toby's screaming's excessive. And I don't know if I thought, like, you know, but I just remember thinking that. Like, it was kind of weird.
Right. And, like, Toby kind of tries to get in his head a little bit because he sees him with floss. We see him with floss. We see him with acid. But he gets in his head a little bit, tells him, like, all monarchies collapse, 6 against 1. Like, you're not going to win.
Right.
But then Collins gets in his head, and that's when he picks up his backpack. He has that book and then finds the hex nut ring.
Yeah.
Yes, jinx. And tells him basically like, oh, she can't marry you.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? But then Collins dismisses it so fast, where he's like, see, I already got in your head. After that had already kind of been a topic of discussion of getting in each other's head.
Yeah.
So the way he dismissed it, I'm sure Toby was like, you're right. You are in my head. This was probably you just trying to get in my head. You didn't think that?
No.
I mean, I didn't. From the first time, from when he first said, like, she can't, I thought something. But then the way he dismissed it, I was like, it left me second guessing myself.
Oh, really?
If my instinct was right of he knows something, maybe she's married, maybe whatever. But the way he dismisses it, how it's just like, look, I'm already getting in your head, and walks off. I was like, wait, am I tripping?
Right.
Was that not a hint?
Maybe that's why they did that.
Yeah, was that not foreshadowing for something? So I thought that was well done, and I thought that the guy who plays Collins is very, very good at being creepy and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So Cabe and him on a wire, on a tower, they call him, and tells him, like, you know, when he calls and they're on the tower, he tells Happy, this is when he reveals to Happy, because they're all on the comms, that about this ring. Happy had no idea up until this point that there was a ring, that there was a fiance, and then it's also revealed, thankfully, that Sylvester wasn't hiding anything, at least not hiding anything serious. This was trying to keep this a surprise. And Happy is, at this point, if I were Happy, I'd be like, we gotta get somewhere. Like, we gotta do something, because my potential fiance is about to die.
Right.
So they figure out, they're able to figure out the general location as to where Collins is.
And at that point, shouldn't they start leaving? I was like, you guys are standing around for a long time,
and
right?
They found that out when they were on the tower hanging, using the phone and playing one song. And then they all go back to the garage for a hot minute.
For what? And then, right? And then they don't leave right away. They sit there to kind of talk about, you could be talking about that in the car. You already kind of know what direction you should be going in. LA traffic is like,
Right. So they eventually go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why not right away, but they eventually go. And they realize that it's in this general location. And they're trying to outsmart him. They're trying to figure it out. Toby's also trying to outsmart him, because Toby tries to distract him by kicking his book into the ammonia.
The ammonia,
and it goes on the ground. And then Collins is like, oh, you're trying to, you know, burn my face off or whatever.
When really he's just trying to make a really terrible smell, because he noticed the windows. He was like, I gotta crack one of these. I liked that.
Clever.
I liked that, yeah.
Very clever. And he opens a window. And so Toby, again, trying to, like, you know, be human to human with him as much as he can, tells him, let me call Happy and say goodbye. Like, give me just one more. You have it in you. You're human. Let me know.
Right.
Let me go. So he calls.
Yeah, surprisingly. I was surprised that worked.
Right. So he calls and basically, like, tells Happy that he loves her. And then he's like, Sylvester, listen to me. And just, like, a pause, and you hear birds in the back. It's just a very subtle, not too loud, you know. And he's like, are you listening? Take care of Happy. And then the phone hangs up. Of course, Collins forces him to say, guys, he won. He's smarter than us, which is what Collins wanted to say. Tell them I am smarter than Walter.
Right.
And Sylvester figures out the location he's at, even more narrow now, because he realizes that the birds in the background are California brown pelicans, and that they're
near the riverbed,
for the month of April. So they've narrowed it down to 4 buildings. Off they go to these 4 buildings. Now we get to the buildings. Walter finds Collins. He goes after Collins with a pipe. All right, what are you gonna do, Walter? You're gonna kill him? Come on, sit down. Sit down, Walter, because you're not gonna kill him. And we find Toby. Happy and Sylvester find Toby. That shot, when she kicks the door open and you see Toby sitting in this giant room, which I didn't know was a giant because they hadn't really shown it that giant. It had all been close-ups. This giant room with thousands of floss strings all around him, and he's attached to a pole with his head, like, at an angle facing up where a mason jar is holding acid. And you just tear the wrong floss. And that thing is going to go down his, he even says down his trachea, that he'll suffocate. It's like, not even are you burning to, like, your face is probably in so much pain, you're going to suffocate from the acid.
Oh, yeah. And it's going to go straight to your nervous system.
Stop.
Take you out.
It's making me
But this part I wasn't super crazy about. the whole flaw, I don't know.
Okay, I wasn't super crazy as to how Tim got to the bottom, like how he let me hit it
The
like
whole
a guitar.
plucking thing. Yeah, it's like you're still you still could pluck the wrong one and cause it to fall, right?
Right. I like that it was in relation to jazz, like it all comes back,
Really?
which they like to do this in the show.
Yeah.
They like to bring it all back together.
It was a little far-fetched.
It was a little bit.
It was a stretch.
You know, and then Walter and like Colin have their special moment. And Colin's like, they've changed you so much. Go after your friend.
Yeah.
Because they need his help. They can't figure it out. All this floss. And with guitars, because they're like, this is coded like a guitar. Okay. They get like one note and they start cutting them all little by little.
But I don't like Walter's like, oh, tell him how to save him. Is there really a way though?
Is there? I know.
Right? I don't think there is. He's just
Right.
set up for that, you know. So I thought that was
stupid. That was a little stupid. But they start cutting more and more and more. But then there's like less than 30 seconds because the mason jar is being held by a floss that he kind of
shaved down a
shaved
little.
down.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. And so he's like, I have less than 30 seconds. It gets a little intense. Toby's like, I love you, Happy. And then Happy's like, screw this. And like tackles him, takes him, and the jar falls.
Yeah. Didn't sell me. Because the chair just like tipped over. So what? You couldn't have just wiggled your way over, right? I feel like it was just so easy for her to just, knock that chair over. You know what I mean? Like, wasn't he attached to the pole or something? It didn't totally sell me.
Yeah.
And then right after he like makes a joke, which he usually does, but I feel like it should have been like this moment, you know, he kisses her or something. I feel like he almost died.
No,
You just said goodbye to her. She saved you, and then you're gonna say what? Oh, I knew you were a keeper or something like that. I was like, I don't know.
So with that, I really wish that they would have kissed.
Yes.
And we obviously catch Collins. He's found on the bus, and it's because Walter figures it out from a childhood memory. And we head back to the garage where the episode always ends. And Toby asks Happy by singing. Very cute.
Yeah.
Very cute. And she tells him, no, I am married to somebody else.
Yup.
And then we go back to where we started in the beginning of this podcast, where it really annoyed us.
Yeah.
That
rough goings.
Yeah. We wanted more love.
Yeah.
In all kinds of ways, guys.
It's like Toby said, it's all about love.
All about love. And we wanted it more. It was an action-packed episode, but it should have been more love. Happy and Toby should have kissed when Happy saved him, not just a joke. It's like, say the joke, but then kiss. And Wage, don't even get me started. Tim, you gotta go. I mean, I'm not as much of a hater. We got a hater over here.
Bye.
But you guys to go. Do we want to do a quick prediction about the third season?
Sure.
I mean, yeah, okay, we'll do a little one. Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Predictions.
All right. So we're obviously going to find out about Happy
Yeah.
and who she's married to.
Yes, we know that.
You think it's Collins? Pen all over me.
Yeah, I think it could be Collins or someone related to Collins.
Okay.
Something having to do with Collins, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. Related to Collins, I agree. I hope it's not him.
All right.
I hope.
Watch, it's baby daddy. We finally get Drew back.
We get Drew.
He
If
never
we get
came
Drew
back. The whole season.
I don't
never
want you.
got him back.
I don't want you. What's going to happen with Wage?
Wait, like they said, I think they're just gonna flirt with it the whole season. It's gonna be up and down. Yeah, I don't know that we're finally gonna get them together. I think like something might happen in the first episode that's gonna just, you know what I mean?
So, okay. So, question. Episode 1, season 3. Does he find them in Tahoe? Does he show up, see them, and then they kiss and he drives away?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he even makes it up there.
Okay, all right.
Up to Tahoe. He already tried calling and she didn't answer, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
Service is shoddy, so.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I don't know. I think something's going to happen in the first episode that's going to make it like, oh, we got to start from scratch almost.
And then we're going to rip our hair
But
out.
at least he already knows that he loves her, you know? So that acknowledgement was something.
Yes.
But yeah, I think season 3 is just going to be another like tease fest.
So Tim, will he be back?
I hope not. Maybe in like the first season. I mean,
Like
first
the first episode
but
and then that's it?
I hope, yeah.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
The only thing that I wanted to mention that I noticed, Cabe was holding an LA Kings mug.
Oh.
I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was like, really? Product placement, LA Kings? Now Chevy?
They do so much
Chevy
product
a lot. Yeah, they
placement.
do so much product placement. I was like, LA Kings on that one? All right.
Right.
Everyone, ladies, gentlemen, cats, dogs, gerbils, whoever's listening, we appreciate you sitting through all 24 episodes with us for season 2 of Scorpion.
You're troopers.
Right? Thank you, all of you that have tweeted, commented, liked, disliked, everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. do not forget about us. The show will be back in September. Maybe we'll be here, you know, hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah.
But tweet us.
Yes.
Susannah, where can they tweet you?
You guys can find me at Susannah_Kim. It's SUSANNAH_KIM.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, MONSEBOLANOS. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will hopefully see you all in September.
Miss you.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.